What's up, y'all, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we are finally going to be playing with the Blend Bunny Ellis Atlantis collection. It finally made its way to me after all this time. It took a little while to get to me. By no means was it Blend Bunny's fault at all. They shipped it out, no issues, but for some reason it landed in Houston, and then instead of coming to my house, it went to Jacksonville, Florida, hung out there for a week before coming back through Fort Worth into Houston. So it took a while, but it made the journey. Nothing was broken, which completely surprised me, and it's here. I have it. We're gonna play with it today. So let me give you a quick rundown on this collection because everything is still available on the website. I made sure of that before I filmed and posted this because I didn't want to film and post a video that you couldn't any longer get the products, but everything's available with the exception of the PR box. That's sold out, but you can still pick up all the pieces that you want. So let's go ahead and start with this ginormous eyeshadow palette right here. This is a 45 shade eyeshadow palette. I had to think about that for a minute, and it does retail for $66. Like I said, it is currently available on the website, and this thing is enormous. It's absolutely huge. It has Ellis's name right here on the front. Now, if you don't know who Ellis Atlantis is, because I had absolutely never heard of them, but they are the winner of the first season of Glow Up. I've never seen Glow Up before. I'm kind of out of the loop on things like that, but they are a drag queen and a content creator. They do all kinds of intricate, beautiful makeup looks. I will link them down below in the description box. You can check out their Instagram. You can also Google them. That's how I found out everything. But this is what the palette looks like. On the back, we do have this beautiful picture of Ellis Atlantis themselves. And this is a very hefty palette. Like for Blend Bunny, this thing is heavy, but open it up and you have this absolutely gorgeous rainbow palette, but it's more of a rainbow palette with a twist. You've got some grungy, unique shades in here. You have your neutrals down here at the bottom, your basic, you know, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purples, but you have different variations of them. There's not a whole lot of shade crossover in here. Like everything is definitely a unique shade. And then you have these gorgeous like multi-chrome, duochrome, flippy shades in the middle that we're going to play with. I will definitely insert some swatches of these under low light so you can see the flips in them, but I'm excited for this one. It is a huge palette, and if you have rainbow palettes, if you have like the blends or primal or even Wicked Widow Resurrection, do you absolutely need this? I don't think so. I think that this is definitely for a particular type of person, and if I was not a content creator here on YouTube and over on Instagram, I probably would not have picked this up, but I was curious about it. I love a rainbow palette, I love a Blend Bunny palette, and I love supporting other creators, so that's why I picked this up. I'm excited to play with it. Like I said, we're going to create 4 different looks, but also you do get a mirror with this palette, and the mirror does have the same picture of Ellis Atlantis that's from the back. Also in this collection, there are 2 different blush trios. I only picked up the one. This one is the Eclipse palette. So this is the pink palette, and you open it up and you have 3 different pink blushes in here. There's an orange one as well. I will absolutely pop up a picture of it so you can see it, but I didn't pick that one up because I'm not a huge orange blush person. I do like a good orange or peachy blush. They don't look the best on me, I know that, but there's a time and place for them, but I just didn't think I was going to get as much use out of it as I would this one. So I picked up the pink because I love a pink blush and I wanted to know what the formula is like. Is this the same formula in the Blend Bunny cheek palettes that came out last year? We're gonna find out, but this is what it looks like. These do retail for $26 a piece, and they're also currently still available on the Blend Bunny website. Also included in this collection, we have a highlighter. This is the Celestial Cheek Glaze. This comes in a silver packaging, so a little bit different from everything else, but this is a really pretty like fuchsia pink highlighter. I'm curious to see if this is gonna work really well on my skin tone. I know that Ellis Atlantis is like a light to medium skin tone, but you know, we'll see how it works on mine. It looks absolutely beautiful. I'm excited to try out a highlighter from Blend Bunny. This retails for $16, and it's also currently still available on the website. The last product in this collection I did not pick up. It is some lash clusters. I'm not a big false lash wearer, so I wouldn't get any use out of them. I didn't see any point in picking them up because it's just not my thing, but they do retail for $12. They're currently available on the website, and they are part of the collection. But let's go ahead and jump into this. We're going to create 4 different looks, so I'm going to go ahead and zoom y'all in, get my hair out of my face, prime my eyes, and we're going to start with the first look. All right, y'all, I went ahead and zoomed y'all in. My eyes are primed. I did prime them with my MAC paint pot in the shade Painterly. Same primer I use in almost every single video, but let's go ahead and create our first look with this monster palette. So I think I would definitely want to play with like the oranges and the reds and the yellows over here. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with this shade right up here. This one is called Voltage. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to take a Game Beauty EO7 brush, pick up that shade Voltage, and I want to keep this like right on the inner portion of my lid. I'm going to kind of create like a fire rainbow inspired look. It's one of my favorites to create with these colors. I just think it's absolutely beautiful. The shade is very pigmented. It looks gorgeous. All right, so that is the shade Voltage on the lid. That is a very, very bright, vibrant neon yellow. I love it. I think it looks absolutely beautiful. And the fact that it's popping as well as it does without a white base, love it. But we're gonna go ahead and move on to the next shade. So I wanna pick up this shade right here, which is called Nuclear. It's this really pretty like true orange color. And I'm gonna pick that up with a Game Beauty EO1. And I'm gonna put this in like the outer portion of my lid and crease, anywhere I didn't put that orange, and just kind of blend them together a little bit right here, just tapping and mushing them together. All right, so there is the shade Nuclear. I love it. And again, it is so bright, so vibrant. I'm not having any fallout. I'm not having any patching, skipping, not a lot of kick up in the pan either. So far, this is definitely the Blend Bunny formula that we know and love. But let's carry on. Oh, this palette is so cumbersome to pick up and move. But I want to go in with this shade right here and deepen up my outer corner. That one is called Ecliptic. That's a very fancy word. So for that shade, I'm going to go in with a Singe Beauty E54 brush, and I'm just going to keep this right here on the outer corner. I'm not going to take it up very high. I just want to give a little bit of depth and dimension to that outer portion of my lid. All right, so next we're going to move on to the lower lash line, and for that I think I'm going to pick up this shade over here, this blue shade, which is called Galactic. And ooh, I almost fell over. I'm going to pick that up with a Game Beauty EO8 brush, and I'm just going to put this on my lower lash line, kind of smudging it along here. Okay, so next I'm going to take this shade right here called Cosmic, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick that up with just a fluffy brush. I'm actually going to go in with a Sigma E54, and I'm going to fluff that right below that Galactic shade that I just put on my lower lash line, just to kind of diffuse it and soften that edge a little bit, and to use more shades. All right, so this is what we're looking like, bright, colorful. I'm loving the way this is turning out. I'm not having any issues with this palette so far, and I love that. But let's throw one of these gorgeous shimmers on the lid. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pick up this shade right here. This one is called Transcend, and we're gonna put that all over the lid. Now, this looks like it definitely has like a pinky red flip to it. I haven't swatched this yet. I didn't look up anything to see what these are like. I kind of went into this a little bit blind. So I've already primed my eye with my NYX glitter primer. So I'm just going to pick this shade up on my finger, and oh my gosh, that flip. I don't know if y'all can see the flip in that. You will have already seen the swatches, but look, ugh, gorgeous. I am going to just pop this onto my lid. Wow, that is a stunning, stunning shimmer. Probably one of the best shimmer formulas Blend Bunny has ever done. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna leave the inner corner, that matte yellow shade, and I'm gonna throw in some liner, some mascara, and come back and show you the first completed look. Alright y'all, so this is going to complete the first look with this palette. It came out so pretty. I love how bright, fun, and vibrant it is. That shimmer shade on the lid is absolutely stunning. It's so smooth. It doesn't accentuate any texture. I love that soft flip to it. It's beautiful. But to finish off this look, I did go in with my Give eyeliner in the shade Bathwater in my waterline. And then for my lid, I just went ahead and lined it with my Glam Light Calligrapher liquid eyeliner. And then I threw on some Blend Bunny Omni Lash Mascara. These are the two that I will be using in every single look from here on out. The only thing that will change is my waterline liner. But let's go ahead and move on to the second look with this palette. So for the second look, I want to play with the purples. You already know it, so I think I'm going to do something a little bit on the monochromatic side. And we're going to go ahead and start with this shade right here and just kind of move our way this way. So I'm just going to give you the shade names. This palette is very cumbersome to pick up and move around. So we're going to start right here with the shade Illusion, and then we'll go into Presence, Figment, and Atlantis. So with a Morphe M453 brush, I went ahead and picked up the shade Illusion, and I'm going to pop this into my crease. I'm going to bring this all the way over into that inner corner and just use this as my first transition shade. Alright, so there's the shade Illusion. I love it. It's gorgeous. That is definitely a very pigmented pastel purple. And again, I'm loving that I'm not having to use a white eyeshadow base to get these shades to really pop. But next what I'm going to do with the same brush, I'm going to go a little bit to the right and I'm going to pick up the shade Presence and just continue to build up some depth on this eye. So I'm going to bring this down just below that shade in the crease, keeping it nice and tight and building up some depth. So I'm just popping back into that first shade Illusion and going right along the edge of where I just put that shade, just to make sure I kind of reiterate it a little bit and bring a little bit of softness back to this eye look. Alright, so we have a nice gradient on our lid and I'm loving it. They're going together absolutely perfectly. I'm not having any issues blending them together, but we're going to go into the darkest purple shade on that row, and it's called Atlantis. So I'm going to pick this up with a Singe Beauty EO5 and we're going to build up a little bit of depth in this outer corner. You know I love my deeper outer corners. So for the lower waterline, I'm going to use that same Singe Beauty brush. I just cleaned it off and I picked up the shade Figment, which is next to the darkest purple shade, and I am just going to blend this onto my lower lash line. Alright, we're going to go ahead and finish off this look with some shimmer. So I already threw on my NYX glitter primer, and for my shimmer, we're going to go in with the shade Deity right here. So this is the second one from the top, and it's like a purple with a blue and pink flip to it. We're going to pop this all over the lid. I love that shade. That looks absolutely stunning on the lid. I love the flip that it has to it. Oh, it's so pretty, but I want to put that shade in my inner corner. So I'm just going to take a Morphe M421 brush, spray it with some MAC Fix Plus, and pop it into my inner corner. And then after that, I'm going to move on and do some liner, some mascara, and I will come back and show you the second completed look with this palette. Alright y'all, so this is going to complete the second look with this palette, and I love it. I am obsessed with this purple eye look. It is so stunning. I love a purple eyeshadow, but this formula and that shimmer shade, I don't know what it is, but I want to wear this eye look all day, every single day. But to finish off this look, I did go in with my same liquid liner and mascara, and then for my lower waterline, I just went in with a NYX Epic Wear liner in the shade Fierce Purple. But let's go ahead and play with the blush and the highlighter before we jump into the next looks. So I think what I want to do is I want to go a little bit bold. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to throw this shade on my cheek over here, and then I want to go in with this really light pink over here. So we're going to do Eclipse on this side of my cheek. So let me grab, here we go. I'm going to go in with an angled cheek brush from Bling Brushes, and we're going to pick up the shade Eclipse. Now I'm going to go in very light-handed, because if you have the Blend Bunny cheek palettes from last summer, they are super pigmented, and it's given me a little PTSD as far as blushes go. But this is what the shade looks like picked up. I'm going to tap it off a little bit, and I'm very lightly Yeah, that is pigmented. But it is a gorgeous formula, I will say that. And that looks beautiful. Oh, I love it. A little bit goes a really long way. Look at how beautiful that is. It is pigmented. Like I said, I just barely dabbed into this palette and did my entire cheek with it, but you don't get any patching, you don't get any skipping. It just blends out so softly and so beautiful. So just keep that in mind to go in with a really light hand. But let's do the shade 0, which is this really light baby pink shade on this side of my face. So I went ahead and picked up another bling brushes. This is just, I don't know what kind of brush this is. This is an F23, and we're gonna put this on the other side. So again, I'm gonna go in very lightly. I can probably go in a little bit heavier handed since this is a really light blush. It is very light, but very pretty. All right, so this is the shade 0 on my cheek, and I love it. It's giving me like Dior Rosy Glow pink blush vibes, but prettier, I think, actually. It's not nearly as pigmented as this shade over here, so you can go in with a heavier hand, but it doesn't look chalky. It doesn't look like it's, you know, got too much white base to it to where it's just unflattering on the cheek. I really like the way that it's laying down. It's soft. It has a little bit of a blurring effect to it, and I really like it. But let's go ahead and play with this highlighter right here because I'm really curious as to what this is going to look like on my cheek. So I'm going to go in with an Unearthly A4 brush. We're going to pick up a little bit of this, okay, and we're going to pop this on the cheek. Okay, you kind of have to dig in a little bit to get it kind of going. There it is. That is very pretty, very sparkly, very ethereal looking on the cheek. It is a little deeper than what I normally prefer for a highlighter, but I feel like with the darker cheek color, it looks really nicely because I do have that darker base underneath it. I don't know what it's going to do over this other cheek color. Obviously, we're going to find out, but this might be something more reserved for like an inner corner or maybe even just a shimmer shade on the lid. But it is a little bit on the crumbly side. Like I kind of dug my brush in there in a little bit and there's a lot of like pieces falling off. All right, let's put this on over here. Absolutely beautiful, but definitely this is gonna work better over the deeper shades. I'm curious to know what this looks like over the orange blushes. I might have to find somebody's video and see what it looks like, but yeah, really pretty, but I think it's just a little bit too dark of a base for my fair skin. Although whenever I do turn forward, I don't really see it, but when I turn to the side, it's kind of hard to blend into my fair skin tone. So not my favorite. It's definitely going to be reserved more for, like I said, over a deeper blush, but it is a really pretty formula. It is a little bit on the crumbly side, not like in a bad way. I'm not getting it all over my face, but just be aware that whenever you go in with a brush, to go in very light-handed and be really careful. All right, so this is going to complete the first two looks using this palette with the cheeks on and the highlighter on, and I love it. I think they both came out absolutely beautiful. I'm loving the tones in the cheek palette out of the two that I've used already. Like I said, we'll use the third shade in the next looks, and the highlighter, I'm actually not mad about it. The more I sit here and look at it, and I think it's kind of warmed up with my skin a little bit, it is really pretty. But if you're going over a lighter blush, you're just going to have to go in with a lighter hand if you have fair skin. But let's go ahead and pop into the next two looks with this palette. All right, so for our next look, I think I really want to play with some of these pinks and these teals that are in this palette. So I'm going to go ahead and start with this shade right here in my inner corner and then kind of work through some of these pinks and work through some of these teals and give me like a gradient effect. But we're, like I said, we're going to start here. This shade is called Sensory. So I'm going to pick it up with a Singe Beauty EO2, and all I'm going to do is fluff this into like the inner part of my crease. All right, I'm gonna take the same brush and I'm gonna move over to the left of that pink to that really hot pink shade called Entrancement. And I'm just gonna take that shade and just kind of put it right in here in the crease, giving me a gradient effect. And then we'll work into some of those teal shades. All right, so next what I want to do is I want to pick up this shade right here called Membrane, and I want to put that on the outer portion of my crease and then go in with this shade right here, which is called Intelligence, and just kind of blend everything together for a final gradient on this look. So I'm going to go ahead and pick up a Sigma E54 brush, pick up that shade Membrane, that really deep teal shade, and I'm just very lightly going to kind of pat it out here on the outer corner and blend it up a little bit. All right, so this is what we're looking like. Very trust the process, but I'm gonna go in with that shade called Intelligence, and I'm gonna pick it up with a Singe Beauty EO4, and I'm just gonna fill in this little gap right here, but I'm gonna tap into it. That way I don't get any kind of muddiness or anything when I blend the colors together. All right, so all I'm doing is I'm taking a clean blending brush and going right along that edge and just kind of buffing out that color so it's not too harsh of a line. No extra product. And I'm gonna do that all across up here as well. All right, so this is what we're looking like so far. I just went in and did my lower lash line, and all I did was I took the same colors and just kind of mimicked what I had going on my crease on my lid, but we're gonna go ahead and throw a shimmer on the lid. So I did go ahead and already prime with my NYX glitter glue, but let's play with this shade up here, this one that's got like this pink to a green flip to it. I think I want to throw that all over the lid and see if it kind of ties everything together. So I'm just going to pick it up on my finger, this shade right here, and we're going to put it all over the lid. All right, y'all, so this is gonna complete the third look, and I really like the way that it turned out. I was kind of getting a little worried there about the green and the pink kind of meshing together, but I feel like that shimmer that I put all over my lid really kind of tied it together and gave it a nice cohesive look. But to finish off this look, I went in with my same Blend Bunny Omni Lash Mascara, and then I just tight lined my lid and my waterline with my Kylie Cosmetics Matte Black Liner. But let's go ahead and move on to our fourth and final look. So for this one, I want to do something a little bit more on the neutral side. I want to see what we can do with like these mustardy yellows up here and some of these browns, and I really want to go in with this shimmer down here. This one is called the Engineer, and it just looks like it is so sparkly and reflective. I need to put that on my lid. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with that mustard yellow on the top called Fatal, and I'm going to pick that up with a Singe Beauty EO3 brush, and I'm just going to put this all in my crease as like a transition shade. That color is absolutely stunning. It's like a perfect mustard yellow. But let's go ahead and jump down to these browns. So I'm going to take the second to darkest brown shade, which is called Descend. I'm going to go in with my same Singe Beauty brush that I just used. I cleaned it off, and I'm going to put a little bit of a dimension right out here in this outer portion of my lid. I take that same shade onto my lower lash line. Like I said, I want to keep this very neutral, very like everyday wearable. I'm going back in with that first mustardy shade that I used called Fatal, and I'm just blending out that dark brown shade called Descend. All right, so with a Morphe M506, I'm just gonna pick up a little bit of that deepest brown shade called Voyage, and I'm just gonna put it right out here into the outer corner to give me a little bit more depth and drama. All right, I like the way that's looking. It's very neutral, but with just a pop of color. I do love the way that brown and yellow look together, but like I said, I want to throw that really shimmery shade called the Engineer all over my lid. So I'm going to prime my lid really quick with my NYX glitter primer, and then we're going to throw that all over the lid. Okay, so this is the shade, the Engineer, and this just looks so foiled and wet looking, and I'm excited to see what this looks like all over the lid. Wow, that is stunning. So that is what the shade The Engineer looks like all over my lid. It is so foiled and wet looking. It's absolutely stunning, but I'm going to throw on some liner, mascara. We'll come back, play with the final blush shade that we haven't played with, throw on some highlighter, and then chat about this collection. So this completes our fourth and final look with this palette, and I do really love the way that this one turned out as well. Even though it's neutral, it's just like an elevated neutral, and I love the way that it looks. But to finish off this look, of course, I went in with my Blend Bunny Omni Lash Mascara that I have used for every single look in this video, and then I went ahead and lined my waterline and tight lined my lid with my Victoria Beckham Satin Kajal Liner in the shade Cinnamon. Are we surprised? Absolutely not. But let's go ahead and play with the last blush in this palette. So we have this one right here to play with. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick up a blade brush right here, and we're gonna throw this on the cheeks and see what this one looks like compared to the other two. I'm sure it's pigmented, but I want to know, is it as pigmented as that dark one? That's a really pretty blush shade. I think this one actually might be my favorite out of the trio. That just looks really pretty on the lid. Ignore this right here. I got a little bit of fallout and I went to brush it away and I made a bigger mess because I didn't do it with a clean brush. I wasn't thinking. But I like that blush shade. I think it's definitely my favorite. Alright y'all, so there you have it. 4 looks with the new Blend Bunny Ellis Atlantis collection, and I like every single look. I can't decide between all of them. I still think the second look, which was the monochromatic purple look, is my favorite, but I'm a little biased. I'm a sucker for a purple eyeshadow, but I am very happy with the way that everything performed, with the way that everything turned out. But let's chat about this collection a little bit. So we're going to start with the monster of an eyeshadow palette right here. First of all, the packaging is absolutely beautiful. Even though it's very big, it's very cumbersome. I love that we have like this raised foiled silver Ellis on the front. I love that we have the picture of them on the back. I think it's absolutely beautiful. Like I said, this is very hefty. It is very heavy. It's thick. This is not like cheap, lightweight packaging. And I also love the fact that we have a great big huge mirror in this palette as well. But let's go ahead and chat about the formula first. So the formula in here is the absolutely gorgeous Blend Bunny formula that we all know and love. I didn't have any issues with the mattes. I did get a little bit of fallout with some of these teal shades, but that's kind of typical with any kind of blue or teal shade. I feel like I get that a lot with those shades, but as far as pigmentation goes, they're all very pigmented. They blend out beautifully. They mesh well together. I didn't get any patching. I didn't get any skipping. I didn't get a whole lot of kick up in the pan. Obviously, I have not played with every single shade in this palette. I will continue to play with it to test out every single shade to see if maybe there's a few in here that are off, but I doubt it. It's Blend Bunny. They always do such a beautiful job. But I think the standout for this palette is definitely this row of shimmers in the middle. Like I said, they are way prettier on the lid and swatched out than they are in the pan. Like looking at them up close, I just thought, oh, those are like a really pretty multi-chrome duochrome, but when you put them on, they look so wet, reflective, and just foiled on the lid, and the way that they just transform when you turn your eye is absolutely amazing. But all in all, I think the palette is absolutely gorgeous. It is huge, and unless you're going to use a palette like this, or maybe you don't have a rainbow palette, or you just want like one really good palette, I think this is going to be great. But if you have other rainbow palettes, if you have a large collection, you may not need this. Again, the choice is always up to you as to what you feel like you need to spend your money on or what you need to have in your collection. But as far as the formula and the quality goes, I don't think that you would be disappointed. Alright, the blush palette. Like I said, I only got the one blush palette. This is the Lunar Eclipse one. There's also a solar version as well that has the oranges in it. But the formula in here I think is beautiful. It is very pigmented, but it's not nearly as pigmented as the blushes in the Juicy Cheeks and the Bare Cheeks palettes that came out last summer. Those are like so extremely pigmented, even the light ones, that just a tiny little dip in there and it'll do ya. But the formula in here is beautiful. I did try all 3 shades. This one was definitely more pigmented, but it's a darker shade and I am very fair skin tone, but I love all of them. They all work for my skin. They all blend out beautifully. I didn't have any issues with them, and they look beautiful on the skin. So I think when it comes down to this, pick the color that you like. If you already have the pinks, you already have the oranges, do I think it's absolutely necessary? No, but Blend Bunny does have a beautiful cheek formula, and you can probably use these on the eyes as well. All right, let's chat about the last product in the collection, which is the Celestial Cheek Glaze. For me, this was a miss. I'm not a fan of the formula. It felt very chunky, very glittery, a little bit on the dry side, and it just didn't give off as much of a beaming highlight as I want from a highlighter. I will continue to test it. I want to try picking it up with a brush and maybe spraying it with some MAC Fix Plus before I put it on my cheek, maybe trying it as like an inner corner highlight, trying it on the lid, things like that. But as far as a cheek highlighter goes, it's just not what I'm looking for. It's not what I'm interested in, and it's not a favorite formula. All right, y'all, so that is going to complete this video. I want to hear from you. Which look was your favorite? Did you pick up anything from this collection? Did you skip out on it? What is your favorite Blend Bunny palette? I want to know. I love chatting with y'all. Let's have that conversation light at that comment section. And as usual, I want to thank you all so much for watching my video and spending your time with me. It truly does mean so much to me. And if you like this video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up before you leave. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and click on that notification bell so that you can be notified of all my future posts on my channel. I do post quite a few videos every week, and until my next video, have a good one. Bye.